Man hard. Oh my God, I'm so special. It's all a bunch of bullshit. He's very rough and tough. He could want anything. Maybe sex, maybe an attitude. So you're just a traitor to him. A second date can be avoided. Hi, this is Vera Khlopkoff. You clicked on this video for a reason. And today we're going to talk about who you shouldn't go on a second date with and why. A man is hot. What does that mean? He interacts harshly with waiters. He talks harshly about other people. He has some categorical judgments. He gives his opinion on politics, on who behaves how, who acts how, what he would do to someone. But the most interesting thing is that when he interacts with you, he is just so courteous, so nice, so good, so kind, so caring and attentive. But with others, he is very rude and tough. See, our female ego gets turned on by the fact that, oh my God, I'm so special, I'm so all beautiful, and it won't happen to me. It's all bullshit. It'll be the same with you when he gets what he wants, and he could want anything. Maybe sex, maybe a relationship, maybe a wife, maybe a baby. We note that this person is rude, he interacts with other people in this way, which means that at some point the same thing will happen to you, and we do not go on a second date with him. The second sign that you should not go on a date with this person is if the man all the time of your date talks about himself, about his preferences, and he has never once had the thought to ask and how you are and what you feel and what you like. That is, this man is fixated only on himself. This is also a very important sign that a second date can be avoided. Because if you start a relationship, you will be very sad that he doesn't put you in anything at all. And your opinion, your interests do not matter to him at all. So you are just a traitor for him, you know, to his life. That's it. You'll suffer and you'll wait for it to change, but it will never change. The third factor why you shouldn't go on a second date is if a man hasn't done anything yet, hasn't shown himself in any way and starts talking on the first date about the fact that he actually wants a serious relationship and he's all set to build it with you and he's generally very serious, very turned on. He's already dreaming of children long ago. He wants to create a family and lets you be his girlfriend now. Girls, that's a load of crap. In order to understand whether you will go with a man in a serious relationship, you need with him at least to pass quarrels, at least to see how he reacts to difficult circumstances, how he shows himself in those moments when you make mistakes, make foolishness. So here I would also recommend you not to go on a second date with a man who has already appropriated you. Nevertheless, I want to remind you that on the first date, very often people are nervous, worried, somehow want to like you, read you wrong, think that how will all the girls like me? I'll put on some suit and tie and be so solid and she'll definitely like me. And she might like a simple guy who will put on a t-shirt and take her to eat kebab, not to a Michelin-starred restaurant. It's in this video that we talk about specific red flags when definitely not. But in the other odds, give the men a chance nonetheless, because they too are nervous, anxious, and really want you to like them.
Now, girls often complain about how guys nowadays are like, let's go on a date, 50-50. You pay for your food, I pay for my food. Is that the kind of guy you should run away from?
No.
No?
No. You know, because a man doesn't owe a woman anything and he doesn't have to pay for her, and you need to let go of this bullshit that a man isn't really a man if he hasn't paid for me. It's all bullshit. He doesn't owe you anything. My father has to pay for me. If I go to a restaurant with my dad, it's weird that I pay for myself and my dad pays for himself. If I go into a relationship with a man, it's already our internal interactions, how we decide what the budget should be. But initially, a man doesn't owe you anything. If he pays for himself on the first date and you pay for yourself, it does not mean that he is greedy. Unfortunately, our society has developed such a story that if who pays, he plays the music, you know? And very often a woman starts to feel obliged if a man even feeds her, you know? So a woman can be rich, but automatically the scenario is triggered that now I owe him because he paid for me. Now I have to have sex with him. As paradoxical as it sounds, most women find themselves in a situation where now I owe him.
I have heard this story that guys who met there, paid for the cab, paid for the restaurant, and then the date ends and they're like,
Well, see, that confirms what I said. So you can figure out for yourself, and this is the man or the wrong man, you know? I suggest that you, a woman to woman, on the first date, you pay for yourself. Let me pay for myself. And he says, no, please, it's fundamental for me. I'll pay for you. Then you definitely realize that you're no longer playing that game where you have to go with him afterwards because he paid. And if you remain silent, then you can get into a story where he feels that way. And how will you know that if you don't pay for yourself, or at least offer?
Is sex on the first date a great idea?
Look, I'm generally against the convention that it has to be done on the first date, the second date, the third date, or the 15th date. It all depends on how you're feeling, where you're moving from. if you really feel attracted to a man, he feels attracted to you, then it seems to me that this is already some kind of game will be that I will not give on the first date. On the third date I will give. So there is already some artificiality and manipulation in it. Speaking of manipulation, if you on the first date get from a man such phrases, if you do this, it will be like this. That is, if there is a if you then I, it indicates that the man will continue to manipulate you. He will use you as a tool, no matter for what. Here too, it is worth thinking about whether to go on a second date. In general, to summarize this video, I want to say that we always really hear and see everything. It's just that if we really honestly say to ourselves, I want to clearly see and hear what's going on right now, you see everything. If you play the stories that I haven't had a man in a long time, or I don't want a man at all, or I want a man, or I want a relationship, or vice versa, I want a woman. I want a relationship, she's so beautiful, she's so sexy, or he's such a promising man, I'm behind him like a stone wall. If you go into your illusions, your desires, that's it, you're missing out. Life always shows us everything. That's what my Telegram channel is about, with Vera Khlopkoff on life. That's what I talk about on my YouTube channel. That life is very wise. It always shows us what its laws are, what orders it has. We either want to see it, we want to know it, we learn and follow it, and we become happy, or we go against the current in disagreement, and that's it, we suffer. Be sure to subscribe. That was Vera Khlopkoff with you. See you all again.